Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the TripleJump podcast. It's a video game podcast. My name is Ben.
My name is Peter.
And my name is Ashton.
How you doing, Peter? You feeling a little better?
Doing all right. I think I sound almost normal.
Yeah, I think you sound normal.
Good. Good to hear.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot better than I was last week.
Good.
Yeah. Everyone was a bit worried about us in the comments. I think we should be taking vitamin D tablets.
I did think, I was like, this is another Thursday, which is the worst day to be off, where someone is off from the podcast and stream for plops, and everyone is going to think there's something wrong. But I think statistically, 3 people,
Yeah.
if you consider how many times a single person gets ill in a year, sort of multiply it by 3. I don't know.
And not just ill, also being away / like...
Yeah, because we say
holiday
plops for
Holiday.
anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I
there was
don't
a
think
few
it's as
comments that were
bad as
like,
it seems.
hey, maybe go outside and get some sun.
Yeah.
But also we live in England, so the sun's never
We
out.
live in the northeast, so that's
It's been
even
raining.
harder.
Just raining and raining and raining for weeks.
And then the other thing we do is that one of us gets the actual plops of some description, some kind of illness, and then maybe they're off one week, and then there's just enough overlap and lag that then someone else is off the following week.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Well, I haven't been off yet.
No?
With this thing anyway.
Yeah.
And, I'm fortified by pill breakfast. So
yeah, maybe that's it. We need more pills.
But I didn't have my pill breakfast this morning. Actually.
Oh,
I
no.
completely forgot. So I could
That's
drop
it.
dead at any moment.
Your immune
I'm
system is compromised.
held together by cod liver oil tablets and dreams. So yeah, I could be poorly any second.
You're still only at 99%, aren't you, Ashton?
Yeah, still got a little cough. Little tickle in my... It's been over 2 weeks now, and it's just hanging around.
Not going away.
No. It's just like that when I don't expect it. She's like, you need to cough now. And I'm
She-
like, why?
Who is she?
I don't know.
Cough goddess.
She's the gamer girl flu.
I don't like her.
No, I don't like her either. She needs
she's not
to
welcome.
leave.
She's unwelcome.
Get out.
Get out.
But you are just cod liver oil up to the roof.
I'm like,
yeah, up the wazoo.
if you hug me hard enough, cod liver oil will just come out.
You sweat it.
I swear.
You're
I
like
sweat it.
You're
Yeah,
like
I
the
do.
squishy, horrible gel capsule. If we touch you, you're just
like
sort
a Tide Pod
deform.
filled with,
Yeah.
with cod
Gross.
liver oil tablet.
Yeah.
It's quite unpleasant, but not today though. Today
No.
I'm like I've had no
Flying by the
breakfast.
seat of your pants.
Cod
today.
liver oil tablets normally pretty filling breakfast. I come to work and I'm full of beans. I have my tablets. I'm
Yum, yum.
so full. I could just have a nap right now, but today no breakfast at all.
Yep.
Struggling a bit. So just have to see what happens.
See if we make it to the end.
Yeah.
You know what's not a struggle though?
What?
Finding very real video game adjacent sponsors to sponsor this podcast.
We're inundated with sponsors.
Every single week we've got one. We are #blessed. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful scenario to find oneself in. He coughed. He's dying.
Sorry.
Just don't bring attention to it.
I can't not because I've not had my tablets, so I'm really susceptible today.
Yeah.
They help us keep the single bulb on in this studio.
Yeah.
Dead Island 2 The Spider, we're fairly sure is in the studio next door.
Yeah.
That's where we spotted
There was
him
a
last
spider
week.
in there, and it was also a massive web that we've all been neglecting to deal with.
Chateau Del.
I noticed that. Oh yeah, I remember.
The
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dead Island 2 The Spider. I have the ad read in front of me here now. I'm going to read it for you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's time, I hope you're excited, for the latest lunchbox food innovation from Kellogg's.
Oh, I thought you were going
Oh.
to say it's from Mr. Beast
Yeah,
and
KSI.
and Logan
Jake
Paul.
and Logan Paul.
No.
You know about that?
Well, I do, unfortunately, I've heard
Yeah.
about
I
it.
like
yeah.
my cheese moldy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or as the Americans say, molded.
Did they say molded?
They don't say
Interesting.
moldy,
Oh.
apparently.
Okay.
Well, can we all pretend to be excited about the Kellogg's
Yeah, sorry,
innovation?
yeah, the
because they
Kellogg's
have paid us. So,
Yeah.
introducing the new lunchbox food innovation from Kellogg's.
Whoa, what is it?
What
Thank
is
you.
it?
You've had fruit winders, also
Yes.
from Kellogg's.
Yeah.
They're boring. They're long, they're flat, they're tedious, they're the coward's fruit. Right?
But they have a comic on it.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but they were
Coward's
kind of
fruit.
abstract and weird.
How about something a bit more exciting, right?
Yeah.
Something perhaps a bit more spherical.
Right?
Yeah. And for an elevated and more challenging eating experience, why not attempt to consume this treat with the included East Asian wooden utensils?
Right. So
Okay.
chopsticks.
Yeah. Certain
In what?
to become your new packed lunch favorite, we are thrilled to introduce Ball of Fruity Snack Chopsticks.
Wow. Okay.
Chopstick.
Snack chopsticks. Black Ops 6.
Oh my God.
It's good.
Oh my God. I had
Ball of
absolutely
Fruity.
no.
Ball of
I only got it from
Fruity,
Ball of Fruity, and then
snack chop stick.
I was-
worked the rest
I have
out.
literally just done the forecast, and I could not remember what was coming
What's
out
coming
at
out?
all.
Desperately
Because
trying to
that
put
is
it
the
together.
end of October, and I was just thinking about November, and I was like, what could this possibly be?
Ball of Fruity, snack chop sticks.
But then to inflect it as less of a video game title and a product, it would be Ball of Fruity Snack.
Chopsticks.
And chopsticks.
Chopsticks.
Yeah.
Well, you get it comes with the snack chopsticks.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what it
they're,
comes.
they're called.
So
it's,
these
the
are
thing
balls
is
of
called balls of fruity.
Balls of fruity.
Balls of
When you
Fruity.
buy it in a box of
Yeah.
multiple, they're balls of fruity, and
Yeah.
then it says in the bottom, now featuring this pack comes with snack chopsticks.
6 snack chopsticks.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not real, unfortunately.
Wow,
Oh.
that's crazy.
Fruit winders are real though.
Isn't
Yeah.
it weird how the comics always depict the fruits getting brutally murdered?
Yeah, they used to do it on the advert as well, didn't
Yeah.
they?
I've not had fruit winders since I was maybe.
No, I haven't, but-
Liars. Liars.
Oh yeah, we got
Oh, we
sent
did.
one,
We do it
didn't
in
we?
main menu.
Main menu, actually.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Not
Fair
that
enough.
long ago.
Oh, was it main menu?
Wow, you got,
Liars.
you're so aggressive. That was frightening. Actually, I didn't enjoy that.
Sorry.
Do you not remember?
Don't
Was it the
remember.
Ninja
Sort of.
Turtle pizza that we did?
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Oh yeah, and
That's
we
right.
had the one that you tear in half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have so little.
Because they weren't all
memories
like
of
that.
No,
Some of them
no,
were just
no.
a single flavour.
Liars.
Liars.
That is not real, unfortunately. I am the liar in this instance. We are not sponsored by Ball of Fruity Snack Chop Sticks. We are sponsored by our very real patrons. If you go over to patreon.com/Team TripleJump and support us there, you get access to loads of things, including asking questions on this podcast, early access to worst and weirdest games, exclusive access to Rules Boss and main menu. And as of this week, SMTJ Live limited time rewards.
Wow.
Because, as announced this week, SMTJ Live is returning for a second year on the 23rd of November at 11 a.m. on YouTube. Join us for Main Menu, Rules Boss, Barbara's Bonkoff, a speedrun record attempt, a gamer drink dunk gunging near
Yeah.
the end,
Yeah.
and
Other special things.
a look at our video game. as
Yes.
well.
I don't know what you're going to say there. A look at our
A look at our
video game.
Yeah.
video game. So that'll all be kicking off 11 a.m. on the 23rd of November. If you are a patron, go to patreon.com/Team TripleJump. Depending on the tier that you're at, you'll be able to do all sorts of stuff, including submitting a voice call or a video call for Rules Boss to respond to, vote for who gets gunged, although we're doing it slightly differently this year, where whoever wins that poll ends up having more of their name put into the hat, and there'll be stuff during the live show that also adds more names to the hat, so they have a higher percentage chance of getting dunked. We'll do
Yes,
a
it's no
live
guarantee.
draw
Yeah.
on the show. Who's wearing the walrus onesie, of course, and there's another one that I can't quite remember.
There's the put
your
your
name on
face on the
shill
green
wall,
screen,
yeah.
on the shill wall.
Face.
Get the face of you or your pet scrolling past us, or maybe your company logo or something. So patreon.com/Team TripleJump. We hope to see you at SMTJ Live on the 23rd of November. We'll keep reminding you, don't worry. But we've already set the live stream up on YouTube. So if you go to youtube.com/Team TripleJump/live, I
Yep.
think you can set a reminder.
Catchy.
Yeah, it's a good URL for sure.
Yeah.
Also, as you know, I'm sure at this point, Tat Appeal is open. And as I posted on the internet yesterday at time of recording, the postman is aware of us.
We've got a reputation.
Yeah.
He handed a parcel to Jack the Jobber and said, here you go. And when he looked at the label and saw, I think it was one where they printed off the address on the screen picture, he said, oh, that time of year again, is it? So they know.
They know.
They're aware.
18th of November for that one.
Indeed.
Yes, is the cutoff.
And there's also a video out this week. It's the worst games ever week. It's Michigan Report from Hell.
It's a Halloween episode.
Ooh.
Very spooky.
Spooky.
Yeah.
Check
So-
that out on Sunday if you are not a patron. But if you're a patron, it's out now on patreon.com/Team TripleJump. So check it out.
Check it out. A couple of other things as well. Our website is triplej.map. There you can find links to everything that we do. And triplejumpshop.com if you want to buy some merchandise. Christmas is coming
We're
up.
all repping it today.
Get yourself some merchandise for a loved one or yourself.
I feel like this morning when I looked at the schedule, it was also a Weirdest Games patron week. But
It is a Weirdest Games Patreon
Oh,
week.
right.
You're right. Sorry, I forgot.
thanks. That's all right. Also, for patrons, this weekend, Weirdest Games ever.
Indeed.
And that's our Halloween episode as well.
Yeah.
It is.
And for everyone else,
it
it'll
was
go out on the 1st of November.
Yeah,
Indeed.
sometime
So
after
just
Halloween.
slightly after
The second,
Halloween,
I
but we're
think.
leaning into it anyway.
Yeah.
We hope you understood. Cool. Should we kick off with question 2? Do you want to start with question 2 this week or question
Wow,
1? I don't
that would
know.
be
Do you want to do
crazy,
question
imagine.
That
1?
would be really strange.
Let me just do question
Let's
1.
just do
That's all
question
right.
one
Sorry.
then.
Got,
All right.
got a bit excited.
Question 1 comes from Dan Clapper. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Well done. Didn't have to say anything. Hey, Bap. Kotaku had an interesting article recently about how the general mainstream media haven't covered Concorde's failure, which is potentially the biggest flop in entertainment history. But how often do
You're adding a how in there.
Thanks. It's potentially the biggest flop in entertainment history, but often do cover other flops like the recent Joker movie. Given that video games dwarf movies, TV, etc. in terms of revenue, do you think the media will ever consider video games a worthwhile / important topic to cover?
This article is actually really interesting.
It is a good
It
read.
was.
It'll be down in the link dump.
When you sent the updated running order, I forgot to copy across the little snippet that I had copied from the article, but I can
Why mainstream media is so rubbish?
I can paraphrase it for you.
That's a quote.
That's
Yeah.
basically it. Kotaku wrote an article that was clearly geared towards non-regular Kotaku readers because they were explaining in quite simple terms what Concorde is,
What a hero
shooter is, all those sorts of things. And they gave the stats, which was that $400 million was spent on it. It barely made $1 million back. Had 700 maximum concurrent
700,
viewers,
yeah.
players.
on Steam.
And
And
only
it sold 25,000 copies.
yeah, tens of thousands of copies. So that's the brief rundown there. But it is interesting because I know that every so often the very biggest stories in the video gaming industry, particularly more the financial area, so things like stocks and like big company buyouts, they will get posted on something like BBC News because my dad will sometimes forward stories to me and either just say, this is quite interesting, or
Have you seen this?
or he'll say, yeah, have you seen, he's sort of trying to help, saying like, this might be something that you want to talk about on your YouTube channel. So it's out there, but not all of it. And this, arguably, I think is probably more interesting to a non-gamer than some slightly boring stuff about CEOs, being put in place or big companies being bought out. I mean, it's all interesting to a certain extent, but I think to just have those statistics in front of you and say, it makes a great headline, video game flops worse than any other movie this year or something like that, better than that. But, I think it could potentially have some kind of appeal to people who are outside the video game sphere. So I don't quite understand why these things don't get the press. It obviously makes sense that other video game news isn't being reported on in the mainstream media, but I think these huge stories, I think they're kind of missing a trick, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's kind of random, really, because I feel like sometimes you do see that BBC and the New York Times do report on things. Like recently, I got the article, I think last week, about the Game Freak leak was a BBC article.
Right.
Because they summarized what had gone on. So I do think that sometimes things branch out through different means, but it's really random what ends up going on other websites. I do, however, think that it's an interesting discussion, given that there are so many video game outlets and news, like magazines and outlets and that kind of thing, dedicated specifically towards games. And a lot of those will report on these big stories. So you see loads and loads of stories. And you it's like a funny thing of well, do you need the mainstream media to be also reporting on it when you've got these many outlets also reporting on it? Because I don't feel like you see TV news that often in things like the New York Times or other big outlets. I feel like movies often get conversation had about them because they are such a kind of consistent form of entertainment that has been around for so long and has become kind of a staple of entertainment news is movies and actors in movies and that kind of thing. I don't feel like TV necessarily broaches into that world either. I think you see the odd TV show information, like if a new Fallout TV show comes along, they're going to talk about that. Or if there's a new big show that's going to start, like I often feel like the TV show news that I see is more often than not, oh, we're making a video game adaptation into a TV show, or we're making this book into a TV show, or another Game of Thrones into a TV show. You see like the big names information on TV, but you don't see that much information about TV shows in general. Like there's so many cancellations that happen of TV shows, and you don't see there's much discussion regarding those and why they were cancelled and their numbers and that kind of thing. So I do think it's interesting that we quantify whether news is big based on whether these specific outlets that cover movies primarily are talking about games as well. I think the Concorde situation is crazy and should be talked about more because it is an absolutely mental thing. But also, feels like everything kind of got swept under the rug a little bit with Concorde in terms of like, I don't hear many people talking about it that much now.
Because Astrobot saved the world.
Because Astrobot saved the
Hit
world.
the reset button.
He absolutely did. But I kind of feel like once they took it down, it's like they've been just trying to remove it from existence. Like
they're doing a pretty good job.
They are doing
it was a
pretty
meme
good
that
job.
came and went within like 2 weeks.
Exactly.
And now no one thinks about it
Exactly. It was up for 2 weeks. It got taken down. They reported on it for a week. And now, apart from the fact that we all obviously like, wow, Concorde was a crazy big failure, you don't see people talking about it anymore.
No.
Because I feel like Sony have just been like, that never happened. I don't know what you're talking about. Concorde? No. Couldn't be us. I don't know.
It's as well they took it down, really, because probably if it was still just dragging itself onwards to this day,
you'd get weekly news reports of like there's
only six people
there's
playing.
6 Concorde players now.
and people would still be dunking on it and
Absolutely.
making memes and stuff. So it was probably, in a way, was the right decision.
They definitely would. The article is really good, you're right, and it does largely talk about how. Well, my first point was going to be that video game literacy in the mainstream is only going to improve as time goes by. It's already come a really long way. It's the best it's ever been, but there's clearly still a long way to go.
I loved when he was like, at the beginning of an article about video games, you always get the...
it's come a long way since Pong.
And
every
it's like
single
very
time.
funny.
And that's a good point, is that while it has come a long way, it's still not where it probably should be, considering how it dwarfs every other entertainment industry. However, having said that, it is in an all right place. Increasingly, you see video game representation on sort of magazine style shows a lot of the time. Empire magazine online, at least, and I think in the magazine itself, reviews games now, just a handful, and it doesn't dominate a lot of space, but they do acknowledge it at least.
Award ceremonies as well have, that maybe historically have only dealt with movies and TV, have sort of got their own video game branches now, more and more, I think.
BAFTA games and things. And video game music, I think, is getting more recognition in mainstream award shows as well for music and stuff. You often get experts brought on to news programs to talk about certain things. And you're right in that when video games are talked about either actually on the news television-wise or on a website on mainstream news reporting and things, it's because of buyouts and things like that rather than actual goings-ons in the industry. However, the other thing that I'd say that definitely always gets picked up is where these things can potentially impact and affect kids. So specifically loot box scandals are always picked up and covered by mainstream outlets. During the Battlefront 2 stuff, that was all over the place, especially when certain European countries were like, absolutely not going to allow that. So that's another thing as well. I do think that there is, to a certain degree, it's that bubble again where we are the ones visiting these specialized sites, so we know everything going on. However, even people who regularly play games who are outside of those bubbles, I imagine a lot of them never even heard of Concorde, let alone the fact that it was shut down. There are people who play games who will never have heard anything about this. So is it up to mainstream media to educate them about that, or should they be paying closer attention to the specialist outlets that cover their hobby? So that's a whole other angle as well, is that, we are right in the midst of it. So, of course, we know, and we can't understand why anyone outside would not understand. But there are people in our sphere who won't have ever heard of this.
There's also entire generations who just don't care about video games and will never care. And there's also there's so many people in this world who do not care. They will find a movie that they will like, and they will be like, this movie was great, and I liked this movie, and maybe they'll read up other people's opinions on the movies. But if they have no connection to games at all, they are never going to read a video game news article, whereas they might read about a movie because they heard about it while they were at the cinema watching a different movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's as Ben says, I think over time, there is just going to be more and more video game literacy. And as you say, depending on what generation you're from, you know, there are people above the age of, I mean, even as young as maybe 40 or 50 who barely played games perhaps when they were younger or didn't play games at all.
Yeah.
And, you know, the older you get, if there are 70 and 80-year-olds alive now reading the news and watching BBC who've probably never played a video game in their life or picked up a controller for 5 minutes perhaps.
Yeah.
Whereas in 50 years' time, all of those people who've never played video games will no longer be with us. And most...
They'll be retired.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And pretty much everyone in at least the sort of the Western world who have the privilege to be able to, you know, do things like that in their downtime will have at least some video game experience. So maybe at that stage, there will be far more interest in the mainstream media with regards to video game news because it's more relatable. Whereas, you know, if you're 70 and you're watching BBC News, you don't want to hear about it.
No, entirely possible. The closest analog I can think that sort of sprang to mind was, do you remember when Warner Brothers Discovery made that Batgirl movie and then they just never released it for cost-cutting reasons?
Yeah. A tax cut.
I don't imagine that made, I mean, I'm not sure, but I don't remember hearing about that in mainstream media. I remember hearing about it on the internet because of the circles that I just happened to run in.
I don't know.
But I'd imagine that a lot of, you know, casual viewers of superhero movies probably never even knew this thing existed in the first place and certainly didn't hear about this news. So I don't think it's necessarily an isolated incident. Obviously, it's different because this is a $400 million flop, which is why it's significant. But I think it does happen. And the same with TV as well, as you said. There is, again, I don't know for sure, but considering the scope of television, the amount of channels, the need for broadcasting all the time, and I know you can just syndicate old shows and just put them on and stuff, but the amount of new television that's being produced every week is probably far exceeds movies. And so the amount of stuff that will also go up in flames that we just never hear about it unless you're in the industry is probably on a similar level, albeit not quite as big a financial disaster, but certainly people will be losing their jobs and production companies will be being shut down and absorbed and so on and so forth. So to a degree, again, I think it's just the circles you run in and the bubbles you exist within.
I think Concord as an example, though, is in a way it's its own thing entirely, because I do think that there's the whole set of arguments on the one hand as to why, generally speaking, video game stuff doesn't make the news, and you can make those arguments. But I think that Concord itself, as an isolated incident, is such a colossal flop that I think whatever those reasons are that video game media isn't generally in the news, I still think the Concord story would have made a very interesting story for almost anyone who has an understanding of how money works or how media works in general. So it is surprising in a way that wasn't covered, even as an isolated example.
Yeah. Or Sony have sent out their fixers with baseball bats. Don't you dare talk about it.
Do not do it.
This did not happen.
Jason Schreier has been gagged.
Jason Schreier. Has anyone heard from Jason Schreier?
Jason?
Is he okay? Let's move on to what is the...
Oh, well, we tried it last week when Peter wasn't here.
We tried it?
Yeah, me and you.
I don't remember.
Oh.
Was it Fruit Winder thing? Because I can't remember those.
Maybe. And I thought we could just try it again and see with Peter's here, see what the vibe is. It's called What We Playin.
It's What We Playin time. Time to talk about what we have been playing. Pete Ost, what have you been playing, please?
Well, if you'd asked me last week when I wasn't here, I might have told you that I've been playing more Star Wars Outlaws.
Okay.
Met a sexy robot.
Whoa.
Made it to Kajimi. The Hutts like me and the Pikes don't like me, and that's how I want things to be. So that's all good. And I might have told you I'm still playing that this week, but I've temporarily shut the orphan out in the snow.
Oh, he's out again.
Poor old orphan. I've been playing Nico Dorico, which kind of came out quietly. It was that, do you remember the Donkey Kong Country inspired / Crash Bandicoot inspired mascot platformer that we saw at...
What animal is he?
He's a mongoose.
No.
No, I'm gonna.
Don't you?
I'm
No,
gonna
I
look.
don't remember that.
The
Well,
name
we did
sounds
all
familiar,
see it.
But I need
It was
to
in
just...
some kind of showcase. I don't know if it was PlayStation centric.
It is the one I was thinking of. He's a,
okay.
He's not a mongoose.
Well, he doesn't look like one. I had
He looks like a
I had to
lion.
Google it.
He does look like a lion. He looks like a European cereal mascot.
Yeah,
He does. Anyway, I've been having a lovely time with that, and I'm looking forward to streaming it when we're clear of Spook Week and clear of me playing the very special game that we are in November. I'm going to give that a go. Not the triple jump.
I was
going to
say, how are you playing that?
yeah, we've
what?
not even. It's not finished yet.
finished.
No, well, we're in loads of games now. You know, you have to. I guess I have to be more specific.
Yeah.
Indeed. But yeah, I'll be streaming it at some point. I might have even done a review corner on it if it hadn't released with zero fanfare, and I didn't even realize until because it came out about 2 weeks ago now, I think. So kind of release day passed me by. But I've been having a lovely time. It's very much it's sort of double A, and you can see where there was a bit of a budget in places, and it's not. This is almost an insult, and I don't mean it quite as badly as this, but it's got slight KO the Kangaroo vibes in places where you're like, okay, this wasn't made by a seasoned mascot platformer developer with a huge budget behind it. But what they have done is really impressive. It outstrips KO the Kangaroo. And as I was playing it, I was thinking, considering like where you can see a few of the cracks showing in this game, this soundtrack is amazing. And I was like, have I just been has Astrobot just left me on such a high with its music that I now think all music sounds good or something. I was like, this can't be as good as I think it is, because look at, this is a middle of the table game. But apparently it's the actual composer from Donkey Kong Country. So it probably is as good as I think it is.
What's his name? Is it the one who did all of them? Grant Kirkhope?
I can't remember his name.
He was a rare, he did all sorts of stuff.
Right.
I can't remember if
Could
that's
have been.
him. I'll tell you what, I'll Google it.
I've already got it open on my phone, so I could just...
Nothing's going to be as good as that tree song,
Give us
though,
his
from
name.
Astro.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
Get
a
in
big
my
tree,
mouth.
come climb on me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's really good.
So
Love
weird.
that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's as good as Astrobot, but it was really good music, and I was
David
like,
Wise.
Oh, no, then.
yeah.
No. Who's
thinking-
Grant Kirkhope?
I have no idea who
All right,
Grant.
now
That name does ring a bell.
Yeah, I think
Grant
he's done
Kirkhope.
loads of stuff. He definitely did ukulele, I think.
Right.
Okay.
But yeah, I was thinking, is this as good as I think it is, or am I wrong? But no, I think it is. It is good music, very good stuff. So I'm really enjoying that. I think I've nearly finished it, actually. I don't believe it's a very long game, but I've been sort of going back and doing all the collectathoning and 100%ing stuff, so I've managed to sort of pad it out a bit. But I'll stream it at some point, and you guys can all see it as well if you've not had the pleasure. So that's what I've been playing for the most part this week.
Lovely. Grant Kirkhope composed GoldenEye 007, Banjo-Kazooie, Donkey Kong 64, Perfect Dark, and most recently, not necessarily most recently, but also Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope, for which he won an award.
Have you been enjoying Outlaws though?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Got all your jackets?
No.
Got your jackets?
No, I've not got all my jackets. I don't know how many jackets there are, but I've not got all
There's
of them.
so many jackets, but
So
there's
many
but there's
jackets, Peter.
4 clan jackets.
My best friend jacket.
Yeah.
I've not got a best friend jacket yet.
Damn it.
I know. I need to work on. I've not been playing the field like
Disappointing.
Ashton and trying to keep everyone.
Well, you
happy.
say that. I had everyone was upset with me for a while. I had everyone on good. And then I watched my boyfriend play the other day and he had everyone on excellent. And I was
Oh.
like, how?
But you had that at one point, didn't you?
No,
Oh.
I've never had them. I've had 3 on excellent and I had the Pikes hating
Oh,
me.
right. Yeah. Okay.
But now I've been trying to work with the Pikes to get their reputation up, and now everyone else
Just pissing
hates
other
me.
people off,
And I
yeah.
just don't understand how he has got all 4 at excellent. He's like,
that's-
have you not maxed them out? I was like, yes, and then I upset them by doing missions. But how?
How does it work, the reputation then? Is there is there a constant stream of things you can do for them, or
Yeah,
a
so
set
there's
amount?
there's a bounties that you can do.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's a bunch of bounty givers, what they're called, all over the worlds, and then you can kind of access all of them from your ship, and you can pick. So if you want to try and get the Pike's reputation up, you pick a bunch of Pike's bounty quests, and then for every bounty you do, the sexy robot will be like, I found another offer. you can give it to them for 400 credits, or you can give it to the Crimson Dawn and they'll give you 1,000 credits, but your reputation will go up and down depending on who you pick.
So usually if you make someone happy, you make someone else unhappy, which is why I'm kind of thinking as well, like how would anyone get to all excellent? But I guess there are ways.
There's like some of the bounties are like, oh, you upset the Imperials.
Yeah.
And that's fine. No one gets upset with you if you upset the Imperials. And then the few times it is just like, can you please pick up my thing and drive it to my other place? And you're like, cool, I can do that, and no one gets upset. So yeah, for the most part, you can kind of play it, but you are going to upset people as you go.
Okay. Damn.
Yeah. I've only played 2 things this week. One thing I'm going to talk about in Review Corner, and I've played that a lot, and primarily that is the thing I've played. The other thing I've played is Disney Dreamlight Valley. They've added Timon and Pumbaa, and
Hakuna Matata.
Hakuna Matata. Their like quest to get them to come to the valley was really annoying. I had to keep walking back and forth this area, and it was not that big, but it was annoying me that I had to keep meandering back and forth. But that's all I've played apart from the Review Corner. So I will hand over to you now.
Thank you. You gestured with your hand
You
and
talk
everything.
now.
I will. Here's what I've played. I actually played a fair bit of Lethal Company this weekend.
Without us?
Without you.
Oh my God.
Straight.
Yeah, I learned some stuff, which is interesting because normally you're in control of the computer and things, and like choosing where we go. So I got to experience a bit more about how the game works. I'm learning that we should definitely be buying the stupid things in between missions. So you can buy bunny suits. It's like random what you get a selection of at the bottom, and they're usually pointless upgrades like a goldfish tank
We can
or a
never
welcome
afford
mat.
them though.
Why are we so bad at it?
So bad.
Because when I played, I made it easily through a few days.
Yeah.
And
Did you play it on your own?
No. I played it with 2 other people.
Maybe that's the thing.
We
Maybe
had so much
it was a
money,
good team.
and we
Yeah.
got to. There was a bee suit that we got.
Oh,
That we
nice.
got mood lighting, so you turn off the lights and it's got like little twinkly lights along the side of your ship. And one of them was disco lighting, where you turn it off and just a disco ball goes and it plays disco music inside the ship. You know we're going to crash and burn anyway, inevitably.
Yeah.
So why bother saving up our money?
Yeah.
Just buy stupid
We
stuff.
just never made it past the first thing.
We're so
pretty
unlucky
much.
though.
We have been so unlucky. I was like reading some of the comments on the VODs recently, and they were like, you get the worst seeds every time. Like you'll go into a room and there's like 3 rooms that we can access. And then there's like one thing in it, and then you get killed by a wobble monster, and you're like, "Cool, what? Why?" And I feel I don't know what we're doing wrong. We're just getting cursed, I think.
Definitely, there's a little bit of lack of knowledge as well. So we'll encounter something we've never seen before and have no idea how to deal with it. But that's what everyone has to go through in that game. So I think we are just quite unlucky.
Yeah.
Worked out how to steal bee balls now. You know the electric bees. One of you needs to get them to chase you, and then you need to grab it, and basically it needs to be the last thing you do, because one of you needs to be stood next to the door to close it, because those bees are cross and they will come in the ship.
You stole their house.
Did steal their house, yeah. But one of the seeds that I had was incredible. We went in, like immediately by the front door was like a big piece of salvage that you have to hold with 2 hands that was worth like 60. Went around the corner, there was another. Went around the next corner, there were 2 more. And we were like, should we just go? We don't need to hang about in
It's
here.
when we get on the ship and we fly away, and it's like you got 100 out of 900 available
Yeah.
scrap, and you're like, where in God's name are the rest of the stuff?
Rubbish. Absolutely rubbish.
Yeah.
Outside of that, though, I played some Minecraft as well. Got the bug again recently.
Yeah.
Started building a castle. Which is pretty
Lovely,
exciting.
lovely.
So
Nice.
yeah, that's good. Finally finished that game of Jackbox that I started last week and was interrupted by the delivery of a Chinese takeaway.
Oh, no.
I literally inputted my name, answered one question, and then the food arrived. I had to stop.
Can you
Devastating.
Can you pause Jackbox games?
No, I think we just gave up after that. Everyone ate and then left.
Oh, you mean you
So
just
that was
started a
it.
new game of Jackbox?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I played through 1 game of Trivia Murder Party.
Right.
1. No big deal. It's fine.
Yeah.
No, stop clapping. It's okay. And the last thing I played is the Metaphor Refantasio demo.
Oh, you played it?
Half an hour of it. I've played half an hour of it. I like it so far. It's intriguing. There's a lot of nouns to learn because they've created their whole fantasy word. Like there's a lot of races and racism, and I'm trying to understand the dynamics.
Trying to pick up all these slurs.
Right, yeah.
Between everything. Like,
I
what
need
is
to
that?
know all
So
the
what did you
slurs.
call me? Okay. And why is that? Right. Okay. And you've got
And
horns,
is that a good thing or
and
a
that
bad?
means
Yeah.
you're better than. Yeah. Okay. Right. Interesting. So, literally, all I've done so far is run around a bit, name my character, and listen to lots of fantasy racism. And
Right.
I mean, visually, it looks great. And I am intrigued, especially in the way that they've set it up, in that there seems to be, like, I had to name myself, as in me, the player, first, and then I got to name the character later on. And there definitely seems to be maybe some, I mean, it's called, try not to read between the lines here, it's called metaphor, right?
Yeah.
But it is a bit meta straight off the bat, and like it addresses you as the player and then asks for your name. So I don't know how that's going to tie into things or if it will, but I'm intrigued. And when I have just one flip-in moment of free time, maybe I'll hop back in and play some more. But it has piqued my interest, even though I've barely done anything.
Lovely.
And that's what I played.
Well, I think that we should go over to the review corner because I would quite like to tell you about the game what I have been playing.
Over there.
Okay, let's go. Here we are in the review corner. Ashton Matthews.
Yes.
What have you been playing, please?
I have been playing, and I've played lots of it, Super Mario Party Jamboree.
Incredible.
And we've got to do the spiel now.
Yeah, go on.
Per ASA guidelines, this portion of the podcast is technically a hashtag ad.
Whoa.
However, no money was exchanged. We just got a code. So thank you to Nintendo for the code.
Thanks, Nintendo.
Shall I tell you all about it?
Yes, please.
I've played this game a lot over the weekend, mainly with MB and 2 computers. And I have lost almost every single time.
Okay.
To the computers as well.
Oh,
I've
really?
just been
The
getting
CPU's
absolutely
kicking your ass.
owned by everyone, absolutely. So the game includes 110 mini games and 7 maps to play on. However, you actually only start with 4 because 3 of them are unlocked by playing more and ranking up in the ranking up system.
Okay.
The battle pass, if you will.
Right.
And some of the maps are new and old maps. So you've got Mega Wiggler's Treehouse.
Mega Wiggler.
Mega Wiggler, and then you've got one that's in a shopping centre or a mall, and
Yeah.
and then one's in a race course where you drive around in little cars. So there's different themes for all the standard Mario fare. You go around, you land on the board, you get rogered by CPUs who steal your stars,
Right.
and you move on to a mini game.
Does it feel fair?
Yes, for the most part. There is a few kind of blocks that just, or spaces that just kind of ruin your life.
Right.
But it's very hit or miss whether it will affect you or someone else. They are entirely random. For example, one of the chance spaces is basically 3 rotating cubes. One with 2 with faces on and one with you exchange stars, and someone has to just jump and it's random. So you might end up getting all of someone's coins or getting all of someone's stars and that kind of thing. But it's entirely random.
Okay.
While you're playing, there's allies on the board, which was in other, I think it was in Mario Party Superstars, which was the last one, where basically a random Mario character will drift down on a balloon and you can go and get them on your team. So you have to get to them and then you'll get an advantage in a mini game, and you'll do kind of a selection of mini games or a specific mini game that's dedicated to that character. And if you win, you get an ally on your team.
Right.
And they basically stick around for 3 rounds, and you get double coins if you land on a space. You get to do buy 2 things from the shop. You get to do kind of actions twice, including getting 2 stars if you can afford them. So they're pretty OP.
Okay.
I kind of wish there were more of them appearing simultaneously, because normally it's one on the 4th round and then one on the 10th round, or they kind of will only really get 2 or 3 depending on how long of a game you're playing.
Right.
The games can be anywhere from 10 rounds to 30 rounds. 30 rounds takes 4 hours.
That's too many hours.
It is too many hours. I think we've discovered that 15 is the sweet spot. It's 2 hours, but it's kind of you feel like you get to do more, and it's just enough mini games.
Yeah.
Where you're kind of getting a little bit sick of the mini games by the end, because all you get for the mini games is coins. So you kind of at the beginning you need to win them, but towards the end you're well, I have 300 coins right now.
Don't need them.
I don't need these coins.
Okay.
But yeah, I wish that allies appeared more on the board, but they are quite fun and their mini games are pretty exciting. sometimes, depending on how many times you've done them, but I've enjoyed them. There is unlockable characters, so Pauline and
Ninja.
just a little guy, just a
fun little dude.
are locked, and I assume you get them by ranking up. You rank up by getting achievements, and the achievements are things like come first in a game and go around this map and do this other thing. And basically, the more achievements you get, there's like 50 achievements. So if you want to unlock everything, you have to do all 50 achieves. And some of them are like a bit awkward and kind of ones you'd have to like dedicate time to doing, but for the most part they're pretty easy to just kind of unlock as you go. And then there's also a thing called pro rules for like, I'm just talking about standard Mario Party, and then I'll talk about the other guff that's also in the game. But standard Mario Party also has a pro rules section where you kind of, there's like different rules. So for example, you'll know where the stars are going to go, you'll know what the bonus star is. So at the end of every game there's a bonus star. At the beginning it'll be like, you have to land on the most event spaces, that's how you're going to get the bonus star at the end. So you're kind of working towards something else while you're doing it. There's 12 rounds, which is fixed, and you fight for stars rather than coins if you land on the same space. And I enjoyed the pro rules. However, there's no way of like turning things on and off. So if you like certain aspects of the pro rules, you can't just pick those and not pick the others. It's kind of like standard as like, this is how you play it in this way, this is how you play it in this way. And if you wanted like to kind of merge the two, you can't really pick and choose the rules you play with, which is a little bit annoying. And I have seen some people talking about it on like Reddit and stuff, being like, wish we could pick which rules to do, because a few of them just kind of feel like, oh, that's a bit unfortunate, I liked this in the other game, but I guess not. Also, you can play with 3 friends, local or online. I've played it both with 4 people. I haven't played it online because I've not got Nintendo Online, which is a little bit of an issue I have, in that there's an entire game mode that I can't play. Because I haven't got Nintendo Online. But yeah, so you can play it online or with 3 friends even. And you earn like V-Bucks, I don't know what they're called in the game, where you basically, for coming first, you get 100 or 1,000, and then you spend those on unlocking reactions and stickers for cards and music. Stuff. Just stuff.
So that's stuff that would usually be used for online then, maybe, to customize your profile? Or?
Well, the cards you can kind of give to people so you can like put stickers on, but the reactions are just like, when you're getting all your coins stolen by Toadette, you can put a little, hey, no, little reaction up. Should you... So
a little bit of customization.
A little bit of customization, yeah. And you earn those coins so often that like, it's kind of not a big deal. So that's like the standard Mario Party affair. And then there's a few other bits and pieces around. So there's a single player mode, which is essentially, it's like oh, Koopa's planning a party, can you go and help him? And you essentially go round the maps with free will, like there's no rolling or anything. It's the same maps you use for Mario Party. And then there's little quests that the Goombas have, or you come across Toads who want you to complete mini games to get stars, and you come across other Mario characters that also have mini games to do to win them, and then they'll help you do the boss fight at the end of the area, and then you go on to the next map and the next map and the next map. It's like saved to a character, so if you go in to do the first round with Waluigi, for example, you would then have to go back as Waluigi. If you go back as Daisy, you would start again. But so it's not locked to just one save run per account, which is lovely, but it is one per character, so you have to keep going back with the same character if you want to keep doing it. Seems fine. Fine.
That's not what you play Mario Kart for, then. Not Mario Kart.
Mario Party.
Yeah.
There's also Para Koopa Flight School, which is where you use both the Joy-Cons in either hand and glide through like courses.
Okay. Why?
Don't know. That's single player. You can't play that with anyone else.
Interesting.
And then the other single player thing, which isn't technically single player, in that you can play it online, is a thing called Koopathon, where you basically, there's 3 mini games that you pick at the beginning, and you're going round a little race course, and you're doing the better you do in the mini game, the further you move around the race course as you're going, and every round the mini games get a little bit harder and a little bit harder and a little bit harder, but they're the same 3 mini games and a boss fight at the end with Bowser. And you're basically going up against like 20 other people, so you're up against like all the AI characters, just apart from the one that you pick, and you can only play that in single player. For why? I don't know.
For why?
I feel like you should be able to play that with couch co-op, but you can only play it either online or in single player.
Okay.
And it's just kind of random and a bit bland, but it's fine. If you're playing it online, it might be more exciting.
Yeah.
Then you've got Rhythm Kitchen and Toad's Item Factory, which can be played alone or with friends. Rhythm Kitchen is like Cooking Mama, but you're doing it to the rhythm. And we played it, and my arm hurt at the end from like swinging it around.
Right.
Bit of fun. It's all right.
Yeah, it's there.
All right,
it's another
there.
thing.
And Toad's Item Factory is like basically a bunch of puzzles that you're kind of having to do with your teammates, where you have to like flick up a ball to get it into the hole, and you're kind of having to control a set of like platforms that are moving up and down. You have to work together. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's all right.
Not what you go for Mario Party for,
No.
but it is there.
Okay.
And the last thing that I can't play because I don't have Nintendo Online is Bowser's Kaboom Squad,
Oh, come on.
where you play with up to 8 people and you do a bunch of mini games, as per usual, to help defeat Bowser. But you can only play that online. You
Right.
can't play it with the AI. You just have to play it online. So, not played that bit because I don't have Nintendo Online,
Yeah.
which is kind of annoying.
Yeah.
This is like a whole section of the game I can't play,
That is a shame.
but it's fine. If I really, really wanted to, I could pay, but I don't really want to that bad. So
You just want Mario Party.
I just want Mario Party. I love Mario Party,
Yeah.
so I've been really enjoying myself and have been playing it a lot and have forced my boyfriend to play it a lot. I think we played it like 8 times over the weekend.
Wow. Like 2-hour games.
Like 90 minutes to 2-hour games.
Good Lord.
Yeah, honest, he was like, what do you want to do? I was like, play Mario Party. So I've been really enjoying it.
Yeah.
And I want to play it more with more people. I've played one game with four players, but I've only got 2 Joy-Cons. So there's like a bunch of like motion control mini games. And those I think are the most fun because they're the most silly. But I've only got 2 Joy-Cons, you can't play those. You have to
Right.
use just like the standard button ones. A couple of the mini games are like a bit rubbish, there's a few duds in there, but if you've got 110, there's always going to be a few duds.
Yeah.
And we got one called Sandwiched like 11 times over the course of the weekend. Like it's basically just you're in a picnic blanket and it's like a grid system and they keep dropping sandwiches and you got to get to the top. I've never lost that game once.
Really?
I
Very
am
good at
sick
sandwiched.
at sandwiched, but like we got it so much. Every time it was like a versus thing, it's like the sandwiched game again, and we were like,
It's
cool.
the sandwich game.
Yeah, so a few of them are a bit wonky, but
So how does this stack up then, would you say, to other Mario Party games that you've played? Do you enjoy this more? Or is it just a case of,
I
hey,
think
it's the most recent one and it's shinier?
I think it's very much the same. Like I feel like the same way about Mario Party as I do about Mario Kart, in that like you know what you're getting and it's relatively similar. Like to go back to like the first Mario Party I played, which was on the Wii, I really loved that game, even though that was the kind of like people didn't love that game very much, but I really did, and I think it stacks up pretty well. I just think that there's not that many improvements from the last one, from Superstars. It's not a massive shift between the two of them. It's just more of the same, which if you are a fan of Mario Party is great because it's new mini games, it's a new map, it's a new way of what. They're not all new maps. Some of them are based on older maps. So yeah, I think it's more of the same. I don't think it's necessarily like a huge step up from the last 2, really, but it is more Mario Party. So if you do like Mario Party, you are going to like it.
Well, lovely. Shall we find out what's coming out in November?
I think it's time for the forecast.
Oh.
Spooky month is almost done, Christmas is around the corner, and our pals over in the States have got their turkey population quaking in their boots. But between the many family occasions we may have to attend over the next few months, there are plenty of games launching, and I have a few that I want to tell you about today. So, without further ado, here is your November gaming forecast. First up, gaming's most famous brothers are back, and this time they're on a boat. Mario and Luigi Brothership has the iconic bros travelling around the world of Concordia, which used to be unified under the Unitree, Get it? But is now split into lots of different islands separated by a big sea. With a different art style from the last time that we saw them, the game has them both side-scrolling, platforming, and doing combat. Though it is only single player, and has you controlling both brothers with their own dedicated button on the Joy-Con. Mario and Luigi Brothership launches exclusively on Switch on November 7th. Also coming on November 7th, and it couldn't have a more different energy, is Metro Awakening VR. Awakening is the Metro franchise's first foray into VR, and it is as terrifying to look at as you might think. Set in the subways beneath Moscow in the year 2028, you play as Dmitry Glukhovsky as he searches for his wife and awakens a supernatural being within him. Get fully immersed in the world as you put on your gas mask, need to change your filters and ammo, and deal with flickering torches at only the most spookiest of moments. Fans of VR games like Half-Life Alyx or the Metro games/novels should keep an eye on this one when it launches on PlayStation VR 2, MetaQuest, and Steam VR. You know me, I love the Horizon games. Aloy is my gal, and I will go toe to toe with the Snapmore just to make the third game come quicker. But for now, I will settle with the incredibly random, but not unwelcome, LEGO Horizon Adventures. The game retells the story of the original game in a more light-hearted way, using LEGO to recreate the world, enemies, and the people you meet during the OG story. Playing couch co-op or online with a pal to explore the world of Horizon dressed as a hot dog, should you wish. The game launches on PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, and PC on November 14th. Another year, another chance to accidentally crash a Boeing 747 into the ground. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 has a whole host of new mission types, including aerial firefighting, air ambulance, air racing, and lots more. Plus a bunch of new aircrafts, and the ability to step out of your plane and take a little picky of a deer, should you be so inclined. With boosted graphics, weather systems, and accuracy in simulation, fans of the series are sure to enjoy the next iteration. And for those of you who already have Xbox Game Pass, you'll be able to fly through the skies from day one. Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 releases on Xbox Series and PC on November 19th. Now, this next one has already been delayed twice, and knowing my luck with forecast games getting delayed, it will happen a third time, but Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl should launch on November 20th. The fourth main installment in the Stalker series has you exploring the post-apocalyptic Chernobyl exclusion zone as you decide the fate of the zone and all those within it. The first-person shooter is both beautiful and terrifying, and should be the perfect follow-up for fans of the series, or a suitably nightmarish first foray into the heart of Chernobyl. With a multiplayer set to be introduced shortly after release as a free update, check it out when it launches on PC and Xbox Series. Those games, plus Planet Coaster 2, the spooky Slitterhead, and the lovely-looking Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake launching this month, should make the coming cold evenings just a little bit more bearable. But for now, it's time to get back to the podcast.
Wow, what a brilliant forecast,
Thanks, Ashton.
You're welcome.
I can't wait for Ball of Fruity Snack Chopsticks.
Yeah, that's actually out in
that's
October,
this month
so
and not next month.
yeah.
Whoops.
I have a question.
Oh.
Comes from Chris McVeigh. Hi, Bap.
Hello.
As I write this, the Nintendo Switch online playtest program is a couple of days away from starting. It started yesterday at time of recording. But details have, predictably, already been shared and the application itself data mined. I'm one of the lucky 10,000, so I did technically agree not to share any information about it. If you're willing to talk about the details, what do you think of what the program entails? If you're not, or you can't, what are your thoughts on Nintendo experimenting with the online service in general? We are not going to talk about the leaked information.
No.
Because that is not ours to discuss.
It's there if you want to see it. You can find it.
Yeah, for a little context, Liam Doolan from Nintendo Life. Just weeks ago, Nintendo announced it would be hosting a new Switch online playtest program. As part of this, it told participants to not discuss or disclose anything about it. And pretty much straight away, information about what to expect was leaked online. Now, in an update, the playtest has gone live and users are already uploading screenshots, video footage, and even streaming the game. According to participants via social media, Nintendo hasn't bothered to disable screenshots or recording for the playtest, so footage of this build can be archived. Some players are currently streaming the playtest on sites like Twitch and YouTube, but it appears copyright takedowns are already being issued.
Yeah, lots of DMCAs.
Yeah, absolutely. The footage is circulating on social media and elsewhere online like Reddit. So yeah, it's immediately come out. The entire Google Doc of information about what the playtest involves has also been just put online. So yeah, it's a whole thing. It's essentially an online game, and that is what people have been sharing.
I was trying to think, because when I heard that this had happened, I thought, well, yeah, of course there are going to be some baddies amongst the 10,000 who are doing what they shouldn't be doing. But then I thought, well, I say of course, but when has this happened previously? Like, how often does this happen? That, quite large play tests happen. There are NDAs or, agreements where please don't record what you're doing or discuss it. And I was trying to think of the last time this happened on a major scale, and I couldn't necessarily think of when it was. So
I don't think any of the times it's happened where I would say it was a major scale. A lot of the time, I feel like we get these early access betas or these early play tests, and we do get screenshots and stuff coming out of it. It's not really the same, but the Steam, the Valve shooter, most recently had their closed beta thing and was going viral before it had even been announced.
Secret, I thought that was maybe the kind of comparable, but I don't know. I just it got me wondering, is it specifically a Nintendo audience problem here? That are they perhaps more likely to do this kind of thing? I have no idea if they are or if they aren't.
I think it's just people.
Just
nowadays.
People on the internet, isn't it? Well, I think that the main thing that I think about this product or service that they're working on is, what does this mean for the Switch 2? Does it mean that the Switch 2 is perhaps coming soon and this is going to be part of that launch? Is this any kind of indication as to when we might get a follow-up to the Switch? I don't think they've been specific at all about whether it's going to be a cross-generational thing or not. But I mean, I'm quite happy for Nintendo to, generally speaking, if the generic news was big video game company is testing a large multiplayer scale thing, I'd be like, oh, okay, not the news I want to hear. I generally don't really like hearing that there's more and more of that coming out. But I do think that specifically, if we're talking about Nintendo, I think they've kind of earned it. Because the one thing that Nintendo do very well is stick to their first-party stuff and make really good single-player games or local multiplayer games, and the kind of things that, as a general rule, I think we all quite like. I just happen to not be much of a Nintendo player, but the actual type of game that they make, I think, is really good. So if they're then going to say, oh, and also we're going to do I don't want to be too specific, we're going to do a multiplayer product on a much larger scale, then I think they've done other good things to kind of balance everything out. So I'm kind of happy for them, and I hope that it goes well. Although it sounds a bit weird as the way that it works. I don't know if you guys have read fully about what it actually is, but
I've read some bits online that I've seen, but yeah, I really don't like Nintendo's online system. I really struggle to. I feel like a lot of the time when we have their games, they don't let us do what we want to do with the online system and the games that they have developed. Most recently with things like Mario Kart and Mario Party, I feel annoyed that I can't just easily play those online with my friends. And I have periodically kind of gone on and off of Nintendo Online just because I feel like it doesn't benefit me that much. But this kind of thing, if they are looking to develop their online systems in a way where something like this game can happen with, I think it was something like all 10,000 people are playing the same game, is essentially kind of the thing that they're testing out here, then that is very interesting. And I would like to see what that technology can do and what they will do with it to make other things better. I often feel like, from Nintendo's perspective, their online multiplayer is like the weakest in terms of the many different platforms you can play games on. So I would like them to invest a bit more time into that and play around with it a little bit more. There's other things that I would like to change about Nintendo and the way they operate in terms of their like account system and locking certain saves behind an individual Switch. You can only have the one save on it despite having multiple accounts. Like there's lots of things about like that I would change, but to get a glimpse into what they're doing with the online is very interesting, and I am hopeful that this will benefit their entire online systems. I'm hopeful, but I'm not confident that things will change that much when they go from the Switch 1 to the Switch 2 in terms of their online systems. However, it would be nice to see it. So I am hopeful. I like to see this, and I am glad that they are investing something into their online systems, even if it is specifically for this game.
Mm-hmm. It's a shame that it's leaked, but I genuinely don't know how they ever expected it not to leak.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I don't know what the right way to go about this is, but like advertising, hey, there's a super secret 10,000 person program you can apply for now, and then expecting people not to talk about it.
Yeah. But also like
strange.
Not really putting anything in place to stop people from being able to do stuff
It's
with
like they
it.
genuinely thought no one's going to, we asked them not to.
Yeah.
So no one, they'll
Everyone
listen
will
to it.
We've all made
obey.
an agreement.
Yeah.
We've shooken hands, so it should be fine. Speaking generally about the state of Nintendo's online services, I think I've only ever been subscribed to Nintendo Online maybe 2 points during lockdown to play Animal Crossing and visit other people's islands and have people visit my island. That's kind of it. And there's obviously stuff that I'd like to change. Like I think friend codes are bad. I believe that Mii's definitely need to play a more prominent role in the system. And, you know, as people have hypothesized about the fact that maybe they could construct some kind of, for the Switch's successor, some kind of Mii Plaza where you turn on your Switch, you see your friends' Mii's milling about, and they're like the Splatoon hub. You see what they've been playing and what they're doing, you know, that kind of
And
stuff.
the graffiti that they've put on the wall.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
sort of the hentai art that's
Yeah.
all over the place.
Yep.
Bring back the shop music. Full stop. Just maybe sort of make your online profile or your Nintendo profile in general a bit more of a thing. You don't just want to access online. You want some bells and whistles with it. Maybe, you know, put some like an achievements analog in there. I know that's a divisive one, but like, you know, just something like that. It is, as you said, Ashton, very heartening to see that they're at least experimenting with this stuff. We know that they have an agreement with Xbox, for Call of Duty to come to Switch for the next 10 years or something. What form that takes is a total mystery because
wait.
Call of Duty has not been on the base Switch at all. You know, it was on the Wii U, it was on the Wii, but the Wii version was very different. The Wii U version was slightly less different, but still different. And if they want to, quote unquote, play with the big boys in the online arena and have cross-play and things like that, they need to shore this stuff up. And especially if the Switch successor is what we've all discussed for the longest time, a more powerful Switch, something that can run more powerful games and so on. And if they want to compete in the online space and be part of the cross-play conversation, this stuff needs to be improved. And
Imagine playing COD with a Wiimote.
Yeah.
Or with a
Switch.
with a Joy-Con.
touch
Yeah.
Joy-Con, yeah.
Well,
And
you
you're
could.
against someone who's on PC.
Yeah.
That's it. You'd get absolutely destroyed. But that's the thing, right? You know, if they want to offer that and have more of that market, then it needs to be better. It needs to be stronger. And without talking about the contents of the online playtest program, it's quite clearly not a thing that's ever going to release in its current form. It is definitely an embryonic thing that is
Whoa.
it's clearly a series of tests and stress thingies. So, you know, who knows what they're paving the way for there, but certainly it's exciting to see that they're doing something to potentially change stuff up. But at the end of the day, as you said, it's Nintendo. Who bloody knows what they're going to do?
Who knows?
They will do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And you will just
Will
have to
like
put
it.
up with it. You will like it. So there. So.
Well, now it's time
Oh,
for something
God, do you smell that?
that's a little bit stinky peculiar.
It's kind of a peculiar stink.
stink.
funky in here, isn't
Yeah.
it?
And it's
Yeah.
hitting the headlines.
It's stinky peculiar weird news.
It's weird news time for some weird video game news. If you'd like to submit some weird video game news to us, you can do so under the relevant social media post that goes out on a Wednesday. However, if you want to guarantee a shout out at this point in the podcast, you need to go to patreon.com/Team TripleJump, support us at the appropriate tier, and become a podcast producer just like
Chip Thompson's Thumbs.
Gabrielle Philipping,
GY Goliath,
Nexus Polaris.
Nicole Hansen,
Blake Thomas,
Marley.
David Cam,
Eric Sue,
Great Giggity.
Michael Pendlebury,
Katie Garrett.
And Big Money Bobby Vegas.
Wah.
Wah.
You got some weird news there, Peter.
I've got some weird news. This was sent to us by Peter Austin.
Whoa.
He found it
he a
all
top
by
fan?
himself. Top fan. And
No
he is a relation
oh, okay.
to me. He's me. It's written by Zach Zweisen on Kotaku. Dressed to Impress removes hot dog costume, and you can probably guess why.
I've seen this.
The popular Roblox game replaced it with a new cupcake. Jesus.
Hello?
The popular Roblox game replaced it with a new cupcake outfit due to inappropriate usage. We may earn a commission from links on this page.
Oh no.
Dressed to Impress, the extremely popular Roblox online game about creating themed outfits in a short amount of time to win awards.
I want to play it so bad, but I don't want to make a Roblox account.
Is it really that impressive?
I really want to play it.
Making outfits.
If it's that good, someone will make it a standalone game.
Yeah, maybe.
And then you won't have to
clone.
do Roblox.
Yeah.
Tell you what though, sorry to distract.
Yeah.
Briefly.
I'm in the middle of a sentence.
I know. But I've got something I need to say.
Yeah.
So I was looking up some footage of Roblox because I was looking just for general footage of like a metaverse kind of environment. And I've got to say, the Roblox side of YouTube is so cursed.
Yeah, I know.
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
The thumbnails are like just insane.
Yeah.
It's impossible to just find footage of Roblox. You've got full-grown adults talking like cartoon characters. You've got straight up children with YouTube channels.
Yeah.
And they've all got like 6 million views each video. And
Yeah.
I just want to find some footage of Roblox. It's impossible.
Roblox is so weird as an entity.
Yeah.
The thing that I find the strangest about Roblox is the player characters. They've always looked like placeholder. You know, the massive like Kanye West
Yeah.
Ooh.
T-shapes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why they still exist. They're so cumbersome. And when I hear...
all of the games have like different models.
Yeah, and then things look different, don't they? But and when we hear year on year what the top 10 video game pornography was as a weird news story in January, Roblox is usually up there, and I can't begin to imagine what it looks like to see two Roblox cubes getting it on.
Well, then don't think about it. Just go look at
just
it.
look at
Google
it up.
it.
I mean, maybe I should.
Apparently, it's very easy to find. And also, we should say
sure
that
it is.
People Make Games have an excellent expose on Roblox, and they often do have kids just working for free and making adults a lot of money on
yeah.
these games.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
just anyway, sorry, continue your sentence, please.
Recently added some new costumes just in time for Halloween. One of these is a large hot dog. Remember that Roblox is, on paper at least, a kid's game, so you can probably guess why the hot dog has been removed and replaced with a cupcake. And then in parentheses it says, people were making dick outfits. Released last year, Dress to Impress has quickly become one of the most popular Roblox experiences on the platform. In fact, it's one of the most popular games in the world right now. Seriously. I randomly checked how many people were playing it on Wednesday afternoon, and over 301,000 people were playing the dress-up game at the same time.
Concord wishes.
Rip Concord,
Bloody
yeah.
hell.
It would make the third... that would make it the third most popular game on Steam. And based on some recent messages from folks who work on DTI, it seems a lot of those people were using the hot dog costume to make penises. Continue reading. On October 22nd, Dress to Impress community manager B Plays confirmed on Twitter that the hot dog costume had been temporarily removed from the game due to inappropriate usage. It seems some folks were changing the hot dog to a flesh color and popping a pink or brown hat on top to create an outfit that looked a lot like a penis.
You've seen this,
I've
have you?
seen it. People have been doing there's certain poses that you can pick, and it was swapping between poses was just making kind of thrust.
Oh, God. Here it is.
It's
so
so
very good.
funny.
Okay, I mean, it
Yeah.
sort of.
Yeah.
That looks like a penis.
It does look a lot like a
If
penis.
you're 8 years old, that is a penis.
And the little zigzag of what I assume is mustard and ketchup is also flesh colour, so it just kind of looks a bit veiny, which is not nice. Anyway, it's been replaced with a cupcake, which looks like that.
That's
Good.
way sexier.
Yeah, that is fit.
Well fit. And that's sort of the story, really.
Good.
So have a look online if you want to see the Roblox hot dog. It's really hot.
Yeah, that was a great time.
I have some news. It was submitted by Chris at CWT Wheels on Twitter. Comes from IGN by Ryan Dinsdale of the Dinsdale Dimmadome. The day before... Yeah. The day before, Dev cancels failing Kickstarter and announces another game in the same breath.
Oh no!
These guys.
The day before, developer Funtastic has cancelled its failing Kickstarter for one game and announced another in the same breath. Hey, that is the title.
You just said it again.
Funtastic, who released the utterly disastrous The Day Before in December 2023, before pretending to shut it down, resurfaced in September asking for money for a new game, the physics-based multiplayer game Escape Factory. It has now cancelled this project, however, after it reached just 15.73% of its Kickstarter goal, with only $3,146 raised of the $20,000 goal. Our campaign on Kickstarter is unlikely to reach our goal, Fantastic said in a statement published on Twitter, announcing another game. After careful analysis and discussion with the team, we have decided that our Escape Factory project has not generated enough interest. The Kickstarter reached, you've just told me that. With this in mind, we have decided to temporarily suspend work on Escape Factory and postpone it until more appropriate time. After careful analysis and discussion with the team, why? This article is
They have
bad.
decided to cancel
What
the game
the hell?
until further notice.
Fantastic is now allegedly... I think I skimmed through it and I was like, yeah, cool, this is the information I need.
All the info
and then
is
it's
there
like,
several times.
Yeah. And now allegedly working on Items, an action horror prop hunt game. Your wishes are very important to us, it said. This is exactly what many of you have been waiting for. No Kickstarter was announced, but Fantastic said it may return to the crowdfunding route or explore other options once a demo for the game is made. Development will require significant resources, that is a quote, so Fantastic has decided to release mobile games to support the process. All funds generated from these apps will go directly into its development, it said. We believe this will help us create the game of your dreams.
The game of your dreams.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, so they've cancelled Escape
These are the guys
Factory.
that ripped off loads of people,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
and then
yeah,
immediately were like, can we have some money, please?
Yeah.
And then no one wanted to give them. And also, I think it's effing-tastic. That's effing-tastic.
Effing-tastic.
That's effing-tastic.
But crazy that they even managed to raise $3,000.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, so they've cancelled it. And now they're making a new game, one of
Great.
your dreams that we all wanted.
Prop hunt.
Prop hunt. It's called Items.
Items.
Terrible name for a
Yeah.
game.
It doesn't exist anywhere.
Really
else
bad
this
for
idea.
SEO.
Absolutely awful.
No one's going to find your game if they Google video game items.
Items.
Yeah.
Silly.
You got some news?
I do, yes. This came from Cameron J. Keywood on Twitter. And it's an article from Creative Boom, which I'm not familiar with. IKEA appoints Grumpy Gran as the face of its new gaming range.
Not Grumpy Gran.
Grumpy Gran,
Why
indeed.
is she so grumpy?
Don't know. She doesn't seem that grumpy, actually, in the video. She seems quite nice.
Or she's just got a job. So
Yeah.
She's miserable now. She was retired.
Yeah.
New research reveals that over 7 million people aged 55 and older in the UK are regular gamers, while the average person in the country engages in gaming more than 5 times a week. To cater to this diverse audience, IKEA has launched the Brandboll collection.
sounds like over 50-years-olds are playing more games than I am.
They've
at the
got more
moment.
time on their hands.
Well,
They do,
yeah.
yeah.
Because they bought their house for £10.50 and
Yeah,
now they're
it's true.
retired.
It's true. 20 pieces of furniture and accessories designed to meet the modern gamer's needs. And who better to introduce it than Kath Bowie, aka Grumpy Gran 1948, a Twitch streamer who has been challenging the norms of the gaming
I
community.
think she was born in 1948.
I'm not sure. I watched the video and she introduces herself by pronouncing each number. She doesn't say 1948, but it seems
Seems
good.
sensible.
Or she's 1,948 years old.
Who's
one
to
of the
know?
two. Bowie's journey began in 2017 when her grandson introduced her to gaming. It quickly became an obsession, leading her to start streaming online. Despite initial doubts, her warm personality, very grumpy, and commitment to building an inclusive community soon attracted a loyal following on Twitch.
Love that.
This year, Kath reached a significant milestone, becoming a Twitch partner and monetizing her content. Her story exemplifies how the gaming landscape is evolving beyond the stereotype of teenage boys in their bedroom. Boring stereotype.
I like that one grandma stopped gaming. The Skyrim grandma stopped gaming, and another grandma.
There will always be
It's
a
like
grandma.
a supreme has risen.
There will always be a grandma.
Aw.
There she is, Grumpy Gran.
She's
Not
so
grumpy at all.
cute.
Grumpy at all. She's got an IKEA gaming shirt on. I'm interested to learn what the range is, like the IKEA range. What are they advertising towards
What they
gamers?
get you.
Yeah.
Do you want to know?
You click for granny and you stay for random.
Well, this is
balls.
your chance to pull me out. Do you want to know what IKEA's brand balls
Yeah,
range is?
sure.
Okay.
Probably gaming chairs. They have
Yeah,
a few
a
of
desk.
those. And yeah.
Let's have a look. 20 versatile items.
Is Gaming Granny going to be on the
Gaming
in the
Granny.
pictures?
I'll tell you. We'll find out. I'm scrolling. This might just be a press release.
Sitting on chairs looking grumpy or not grumpy.
That
as
is
the
not.
case may be.
That's IKEA. Yeah, show me the collection, please, IKEA. I want to see it. It's full of gamer language. Immediately.
But hey, bossaroos.
Where games, socializing, and furniture meet. That's where you find Brand Ball. It's a collection of gaming room furniture, complete with low seating, storage, and accessories, characterized by clever function and playful design. The next headline is Your Support Squad. The Brand Ball Gaming Collection offers everything to improve your gaming adventures, from a rug that helps you hit the enemies, not the table, to gaming bolsters that boost your comfort and play.
What's a
Okay.
bolster?
And how does the rug help me in online games?
And
Right,
do you have
okay.
anything for hedgy wedgies?
Yeah.
I do now have the items. It says 20, there's 13. So
Right,
the first
okay.
one is the gaming station, which is a desk that has like a cupboard
Goes
door.
into a cupboard.
Yeah. The next one is the gaming lounge chair, which looks very uncomfortable.
Does that just go on the floor?
I think so, yeah.
Ugly.
There's the wall-mounted display cabinet there. You can put your
for you
anime
guys.
figures in.
Yeah.
There's the inflatable gaming lounge chair.
For £45,
Again,
they're
that's
going to
quite
make me blow
uncomfortable.
it up.
That's the accessories stand, which is just cubes where you
Yeah.
can put things on.
Yeah,
Like
but
it's
for
like a PlayStation
gamers.
collection.
For gamers. Shelving unit on casters. That's a trolley.
Yeah. It is. For granny.
Basket. That's just a
That's
basket.
just a basket. What did you put in there? Does it say?
Games.
They've got
Games.
a
just a pile of games.
gamer coaster. Would you like to see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a wooden coaster.
Oh.
It's just a wooden coaster.
God.
There's a throw thing which is sort of just has cubes on it. There's a gaming rug, which again is a
It's
mosaic.
like a crossword.
That looks like where they put newborn babies in that little table.
That's an incubator, yeah.
That's just a chair.
A lawn chair.
And that's a mouse pad. That's the closest thing they have to an actual gaming thing in that entire selection.
And it's the most basic mouse pad I've ever seen.
And it's
I want one of
so
those anime
expensive.
ones
Boobs on
with an ass on it. Yeah.
We've got one of those. You can have
Yeah,
that.
but no,
It's
I
fine.
don't. I don't want
You
that.
use it.
I don't. I got rid of it a while ago. It's actually hurting my wrist. There was too much cake on it. So there's IKEA's new range. It's a rip-off, but I'm happy for Grandma.
Yeah.
Grumpy Granny's doing.
Happy
Should we
for
getting
Grandma.
paid for it?
Yeah.
That's great.
Shall we move on to something a little bit bigger?
Yes, please.
All right. It's the big discussion.
Big discussion time. Time for the big video game discussion. This week it comes courtesy of Stephen Skodez, who says, Hi, BAP.
Hi.
All right.
What did you think about the Xbox Partner Showcase last week? I did watch it, even though I'm not an Xbox owner. But there were some great announcements, lots of love, and happy Saturday at the time of podcast release. Thank you, Stephen.
Thanks, Stephen.
So yes, as we
Stephen?
talked about last week, this was one of those classic podcast things where they do these showcases at the worst imaginable time for us. It was later in the day after recording. So even though it's over a week old, we are now going to talk about the Xbox Showcase and what was shown. Should we do one thing at a time, starting with Peter Austin?
Okay. Yeah. Alan Wake 2, the Lake House DLC, is coming Tuesday, the 22nd of October.
It's out.
It's out.
It's
yes,
out.
it's out.
It's
It's
out.
the 24th today at time of recording.
I might stream it next week.
Oh, yeah.
fun.
But I've heard it's scary.
Yes.
And I found Alan Wake 2 quite challengingly scary in places, and I'm not sure if I'm ready to broadcast me being that vulnerable
Actually
Too
scared.
spooked.
to the internet.
Wish
Yeah.
I could say that I've never been scared.
No,
on
you've never
stream,
done
but
that.
is
There's
not
no
true.
footage of that.
No, yeah, you're
actively
fine.
screaming in fear. Yeah. Then we got a look at Bloober Team's new spooky shooter, Kronos: The New Dawn.
God, they're busy, aren't
It was,
they?
they are. It was a CG trailer where it was just some guy in a weird, horrible mask.
Gamer Granny was there.
Playing with the grumpy
She was,
granny.
yeah.
Yeah. Playing some chess. And
Yeah.
it's coming 2025. Looked spooky.
Bloober have recently been quoted. This is a quote. We're done making crappy games.
Interesting.
That's what they've said.
Do you know what?
a
That's a
fun-
good mentality to have.
And all their games are still for sale, I assume.
Yeah,
all their
yeah, yeah.
crappy games are
They're
still
like,
for
all
sale.
these games are crappy, but you can give us £15 for them if you want to.
I may have slightly paraphrased. I don't have the exact wording.
This is a quote.
But this is a quote. It might not be exact, but it's a quote.
Yeah.
I think it was, we're done making crappy games.
Hey, well, here's hoping.
Yeah.
What, that remains to be seen.
Yeah.
I'll
quite
clarify.
frankly.
I'll crapify.
Okay. Blind Fire is a neon PvP shooter, which is now in early access. Didn't really do anything for me. This
No.
you know,
It was like-
visually looked pretty cool, but it was CG, wasn't it?
No, there was gameplay.
There was some
I think.
gameplay in there.
But they were like, it's time to turn off the lights. And I was like, there's actually loads of light.
There's
There's
tons of
actually
light.
way more light than...
It's not really
You're
blind
applying.
at all. There's no
Yeah.
blind in this Blind Fire.
Oh, it was worse.
Oh God.
We're done making flippy games.
Whoa!
SH.
Whoa.
Whoa.
SH Flip. We're done making flippy. We've made some flippy games before. Acknowledged Bloober. They continued. We want to find our niche, and we think we found our niche.
What's their niche?
Not flippy.
Not flippy games.
Wow, if it was as simple as that.
Yeah.
Spooky.
Why would you make flippy game in the first
Don't
place?
know.
We've had a long conversation. We've decided we're not going to make flippy
The
games.
mistake we've been making is starting any project saying, right, what's the flippiest game we can make?
Yeah. How flippy can we make it?
Well, best of luck to them.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Cool.
Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Was
Oh,
shown.
yeah.
Up there with one of my favorite game names I have ever heard.
Do you
Yeah.
not remember the last one?
The man with
like
no
a dragon,
name.
the man who erased
The
his
man
name
who
or
erased his
something
name.
awful.
Crazy. But Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii
Yeah.
is so funny.
It's got Samoa Joe in it.
so good.
This
Oh.
looked insane. I mean, very much as Yakuza does. I couldn't even at the very beginning. I was like, oh, okay, that's it's a pirate in sort of modern times or something. You know, I don't know if he's time traveled or if he's dressing up or
No.
something. Then there was a bit of footage of like multiple sailing ships fighting with each other, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh wait, no, this is set in oldie world. And I was like, no, it's not.
No.
It
No, it's
absolutely
not.
is not. It's in like on a casino island or something.
Yeah.
Hawaii, the casino island.
Well, yeah, indeed.
Looks incredible.
Looks insane. They were
I
like,
wish. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say they were like, are you fine that you've got amnesia? And he was like, yeah.
Well, that's the thing because
He was
he's
playing violin at one point.
yeah.
Goro Majima has always had an eye patch.
Yeah.
And so if he wakes up with amnesia and he's got an eye patch, the first thing he's going to assume is, well, I must be a
pirate.
I must be a
pirate.
pirate. The Yakuza games and Like a Dragon games that I've played, I've really liked, but I wish I was more into the series and also had more time because the rate at which these guys are able to get like really good games out
Yeah.
is honestly astonishing.
Yeah.
And I hope this does really well and eventually maybe I'll get around to playing it.
It was crazy. The next game we saw was Mouse, PI for Hire.
This looks really
Legally
good.
distinct Mario, Mickey Mouse. It's a black and white cartoon action game, which is like a first-person shooter, and it's also got detective crime-solving elements. It
See?
looked pretty fun and good.
Yeah, that sort of rubber hose art style.
Yeah, no
Cuphead.
release date or anything for that yet.
Yeah, my one thing was I looked at it and I thought, oh, this will be really hard. And I thought, why do I think that? And it's because Cuphead is
Yeah.
hard. But just because it looks like Cuphead, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be
If it's really
brutally
hard,
difficult.
I'm not interested.
Yeah, me too.
Quite frankly, I'd love a cool art style and a fun shooter, but I don't want to.
It didn't
No.
look like it's going to be hard.
No, but
If it's just a
some of the
hectic
bosses,
sort of Doom-like thing,
Yeah,
maybe,
that's
then I'll go for it, maybe. But yeah.
Yeah.
huge bosses with loads of health, and when you killed them, it was quite violent as well. Even though it was black and white, you could see like blood and guts and stuff. Anyway, then we got to see Subnautica 2. Very exciting. Early access is coming in 2025. This was all just a cinematic trailer, but suitable sense of foreboding with
Yeah.
big horrible sea monsters.
Kraken.
The Kraken.
The Kraken. So it's got co-op.
Yes.
Six.
Yeah,
Exciting.
2 to 4 friends.
Yeah. Then we saw Animal Well. How many times can I say the word shadow in my trailer?
Yeah,
More.
I like Donkey. I enjoy the videos that I see. I don't know if this is. I mean, it's reviewed really
It's
well.
been out since
this
May
game.
on PlayStation, so
But I don't know. To anyone who's not familiar with Donkey or this game, if they just heard a guy with a strange voice saying shadows over and over again, I don't know necessarily that that's the best way to sell it.
It was a really weird trailer.
It was a strange trailer.
There wasn't a lot of feedback in the chat. It was just people saying donkey or is that donkey?
Donkey.
Yeah.
It's his publishing arm, isn't it? I think that's done this. So yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Me?
Why didn't you just do...
I did Animal Well.
Oh, me, sorry.
Yeah.
Eden's Zero is a manga that they're turning into a game. It's a third-person adventure.
It's from the guy who did Fairy Tale,
Yeah.
if that means something to anime fans. But I did. It's one of those games, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's one of those ones. Not for any of us. Eternal Strands is an upcoming action game. Features natural elements, including fire, ice, and a big-ass sword. It launches on Game Pass in early 2025. This looked like it was built around the mechanic of using elements. But outside of that, it looked a little bit ropey to me.
Yeah.
Like, it looked a little bit like the animations weren't... They didn't look very
I thought that
good.
about a few of these, to be honest. Some of them did look a little bit wonky, and I wasn't sure about them.
A few of them look like just sort of clones of other things, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you do it right, then great. But there were a number of things where I was like, oh, it's that game, but a different version. But this one,
Yeah.
Miss-
Speaking of.
Yeah, Mistfall Hunter was one of them. It's an upcoming Souls-like. Looks very similar to Elden Ring.
Really does.
But Viking sort of themed. And that's releasing 2025. So yeah, that
Even
was
the
one of them.
darkness with the gold strands and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It looked very, very
The
Elden
motifs
Ring.
were very similar.
Yeah.
Then we got to look at Wheel World, which is a cell-shaded bike game where you can fully customize your bike however you see fit. You can turn it into a hot dog. You could ride a person. You can make the frame of your bike a person. And there's like a bunch of different racing modes and explorations and that kind of thing. And that's coming early access 2025.
We've already got a cell-shaded bike game, thank you. So,
Yeah, no,
you
it's
don't
all
need.
right.
You don't need. Parcel Core is the only one you need. Actually,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It looked weird though. I'm not really sure what it was. What
It
you meant
looked
to
a
do.
bit like Ollie Ollie World.
Yeah,
A
it
little
did
bit. And that like roller skating one as well. Rollerdrome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is very exciting. I can't believe it's taken this long. Phasmophobia is finally coming to Xbox consoles on the 29th of October.
Yeah.
So very, very soon. And that's great because I would like to play it, but also I don't really like to, even though I did that this week, I don't really like to sit at my PC and play games. So having that experience on a console would be pretty cool.
I love Phasmophobia. I once played it in VR and it was
Oh, no, screw that.
terrifying.
Not doing that.
I've not played it in so long. Maybe I have to pick it up again.
Here's another one where I thought, that's just Kana with a dog, isn't it? This felt quite Kana Bridge of Spirits to me, but it looked good. Legend of Babu coming 2025. You play as Sepahar,
Not sure.
and his big fluffy dog Babu on a magical isle.
Oh.
It looked pretty cute, but I just
Yeah.
thought, it's quite Kana-esque.
It looked a little bit ropey in places. Like a few of the clips of gameplay looked a little bit juddery.
I thought so
but,
too, yeah.
But it looked really cute and the story seemed quite interesting. And I am hopeful for them because it had a big cute dog in it.
Yeah.
And I like a big cute dog.
Is the dog called Babu?
The dog is called Babu.
That's great. Are you mentally prepared for when the dog inevitably dies?
Well,
No.
no. Maybe it just gets hurt.
He goes baboom.
Oh, no.
Gets exploded. The dog's going to
goes
get
baboon.
exploded.
Yeah,
and
he goes to
babooed.
live on a farm upstate.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, different
No.
magical isle.
Then we got to look at Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, which was very Wukong. Like,
Yes,
very, very similar. It's a
yes.
hack and slash magical combat where you fight horrible monsters. That's coming 2025.
Yeah, that looked all right. There were a couple of quite obvious Souls-likes in this,
Yeah.
as there always are these days. Nothing in that one particularly jumped out to grab me. If I'm going to play a Souls-like derivative that is themed around sort of Chinese culture, it will probably be Wukong at this point. And even then, I'm not that interested in playing Wukong. So hope it does well for them though. And finally, the big final reveal was FBC Firebreak. This is set in the Remedy verse, so the Federal Bureau of Control. It's a 3-player co-op experience where you battle the Hiss in the oldest house being the sort of company building that the FBC is set in, or based in. and releases in 2025. This doesn't do anything for me, even though I really liked Alan Wake 2 and I've played Control. It's a bit of a strange one.
It is a bit weird.
I thought it was a weird one to finish on as well.
Yeah, it was interesting. I really liked Control, and I haven't played Alan Wake 2, but I kind of rate what Remedy do. I do think that they are a bit weird for the sake of weird, and I have said so in the past. I would, if it's anything like a Left 4 Dead type game, if that's what we're talking, then I would be interested in giving it a go with some pals. Kieran said something really interesting the other day, actually. He said that it would be cool to be able to play as the hiss, and like you kind of a standard hiss, and then the longer you play, you get to one of like the chair ones,
like the Left 4 Dead
floating
sort
one.
of.
Yeah, that mode.
Yeah.
Which I think would be very fun. I mean, I'm interested in it, but I'm going to wait to see how it plays in terms of like what, if you're just running through and just killing over and over again.
Is there a story? Does it
Yeah.
tie into the large narrative?
Yeah.
How much is it?
Yeah.
And what is it actually fun as well? That's the most
Because also the
important
most
thing.
fun thing about Control is the powers you get, is the like kind of telekinesis and the being able to just yeet things as far
Yeah.
as you can. So I would be interested to see if it's just gunplay or if there is an element of those powers that you get in Control.
Yeah, you're all sort of dressed up like, was it Pyro from Team Fortress? You know, your
In
big
your
gas
hazmat
mask.
suits,
Yeah, and
yeah.
and you see them showering between missions and stuff.
Yeah.
If it does have a narrative to it, I think I'd be more intrigued, because as much as I have to, like, I feel like I need to take a bloody night school class to understand what on earth is going on in the Remedyverse whenever I finish one of their games or DLCs. I am interested to see what happens, because it does have that hook of like, you genuinely sometimes don't know what's going on, and you need it's up to some interpretation. And so that would be the element that would get me interested. I don't just want to shoot stuff in the oldest building or whatever it is, the oldest house, just for the sake of shooting it.
I'm
Yeah.
almost the other way around, in that like the only thing that might draw me to this is if it just happens to be a really good game that everyone says is fun to play, because to me the Remedyverse is I just don't
That's fair.
like it. I don't
Understandable.
want to do the night school course, and I just get a bit angry when things are, I think, weird for the sake of weird at times.
Yeah.
So
Which Control definitely is weird.
yeah, so that side of the Remedyverse is not for me, but if it just happens to be a good game, then great. That's fine.
What did you think about the showcase overall, Peter?
I don't know. I thought there were a couple of things that looked interesting, but I agree that they weren't necessarily presented in the best way. Like, I thought Kronos: The New Dawn aesthetically was like sort of
It
intriguing-ish.
was kind of giving Dead Space.
Yeah, it was
wasn't
giving Dead Space and slightly Bioshock, in that there was a big daddy playing chess. But then we only saw 2 seconds of what looked like gameplay, but was, let's face it, just a vertical slice or maybe just CG presented like gameplay. So, can't really take anything from that. And then again, I thought things like Legend of Babu looked cute, but didn't run super well. Mouse PI for Hire, I think, looks very interesting, but if it's really difficult like Cuphead, then I'm not interested. So I think there are some things that intrigue me, but in probably every case, I would want to know more before I kind of decide on the ones that looked good.
I am desperate for us to move on from Souls-likes.
Yeah,
I am desperate.
that would be nice.
Desperate. Elden Ring, I had no qualms with Elden Ring when it came out. I wasn't interested, or I wasn't going to play it. However, I have beef with Elden Ring now, because every flipping showcase is just littered with Souls-likes. It's like, you got a sword and you got some magic and there's a big ass monster you got to fight. Hate that. Not interested.
I think you did have quite a bit of beef with Elden Ring at the time.
I had beef with Elden Ring because they ruined
I
Horizon.
remember you saying that you were quite cross about Elden Ring. It was Horizon related.
Because it was Horizon, right? But I have, I don't
You have
think about
even more
Elden Ring.
now.
But now
You've got 2 beefs.
I have a second beef with them, and it is the fact that like every single game, it feels like, is a Souls-like, and I hate Souls-likes, and I can't play them because I'm bad at them, and that makes me angry. So it would have been nice not to see any of those, but we live in a society.
We do.
But there's a few on there that I was interested in. I still need to play Alan Wake 2 because the DLC looked really spooky and really interesting, but I have not played any of it yet. And there is a few things that I'm interested in, but again, it's very much like get a look at the gameplay, find out how they actually play. And they're all just vague 2025s, and knowing those vague dates, we won't see them until mid to late 2025, if that. It's nice to see some like smaller studios getting a platform like this with Xbox, which is lovely. Not many coming to Game Pass day one as well. I think there was one coming to Game Pass day one.
Yeah, one of them was mentioned in there. Eternal Strands.
Eternal Strands, yeah. But for the most part, it was nice to see some smaller studios getting the kind of prime time slots in this show.
I was kind of hoping Phasmophobia would go on Game Pass, to be honest, so I could just play it straight away.
Nice.
I wonder how many of these will be going elsewhere, because at the moment I think almost every single one said just Xbox and PC at the bottom at the end, but that doesn't necessarily mean
that's all they'll say.
Yeah.
I don't know, to be honest.
No.
Hopefully some of them will.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it for the most part. I enjoyed the presentation of it. Like, I like the way it was set out. The way, you know, it had the state of play style narration over certain bits that clarified things. I like the format, I suppose. A lot of stuff here that I don't think there's anything necessarily, unless you're a big fan of Alan Wake, Remedy,
Yakuza.
Subnautica or Yakuza. Yeah, I think this is a very it's more of a muted one. You know, there doesn't mean that these games won't be good, of course, but I don't think many people will be coming away going, that was awesome.
Yeah.
There wasn't many bangers.
That was brilliant. Exactly. And that's maybe, you know, that's not necessarily
It was
what
only
this
a
is
half an hour show, so
designed to do. I think for a half an hour show, it was good. It showed a lot of variety there. There's some things to look forward to on Xbox. Coming out the back of it, though, Phasmophobia on consoles is great. And I will play the DLC for Alan Wake 2 at some point when I feel brave enough. But I thought it was okay. And I believe the next big showcase we're up for is the Game Awards in early December.
Yeah, it will be.
Which we will be streaming. Join us live as we slowly lose our minds in real time from
it
like
doesn't
1
take very
a.m.
long to lose our minds.
No.
I think
It just
we
feels
arrive
like
on
it
a
goes
bit of an
on.
energy, and then I don't think we ever get off that energy until the end.
It's like 3 hours long.
We
and
see
it
the
starts
first
at 1
anime
a.m.
game, and then we're like, okay.
Yeah.
We just
The
start
Rock
swearing
comes out.
immediately.
Yeah.
It's,
Muppet arrives.
Yeah.
unbelievable. I am apprehensive and also excited for it because it is always a laugh, even though there would be a million places I'd rather be.
It's one of my favorite shows we react to. It's just because it is just always absolutely mental.
It's the only thing that we can react to that's at a time that is antisocial. Everything else that we usually react to is at least like 7 p.m. our time.
Yeah.
That kind of period. But join us for that. That's at the start of December. And that is everything that we've got to discuss.
I believe so.
Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Remember, SMTJ Live is happening on the 23rd of November on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Go to triplej.mup/SMTJ to find out how you can get involved. Sign up to the Patreon. If you're already on the Patreon, then make sure you claim your rewards by voting or submitting a relevant thing to us. All the details are in Patreon posts over on our Patreon. And also the Tat Appeal. If you go to triplej.mup/tat, you can find out more. Tat Appeal closes on the 18th, and we've already had a few parcels through, so thank you everybody who's doing that. Don't dilly-dally though, because oftentimes we usually hear every time there's like 4 days to go until the deadline, and someone says, "Oh God, I've just
sent one.
I'm
Will
just
it arrive?"
quickly putting everything together. I left it to the last minute." Don't leave it to the last minute. You know, be prepared. You've got plenty of time still, though.
Yeah.
There's a few places around the internet you can find us. Peter's going to tell you a couple of them.
You can head to youtube.com and twitch.tv, both /Team TripleJump. YouTube, of course, the home of videos. And Twitch is where we do most of our streams, but occasionally special ones on YouTube as well. And if you've got Amazon Prime, the bundle you are paying for includes a Twitch sub at no extra cost, so you can redeem that against us and get all the benefits of being a subscriber. Yeah.
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter, on which we are at Team TripleJump if you want to connect with us. And if you'd like to support us, it's patreon.com/Team TripleJump.
Our website is triplejut.mp. There you can find links to everything that we do. And why not leave us a 5-star review on your platform of choice? It helps, something to do with Al Gore's rhythms, and we'd really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Just enough time to talk about this week's sponsor once again, which of course is the latest lunchbox food innovation from Kellogg's. Enough of the boring fruit winders. Why not eat your fruit like a ball? Why not eat it with your included East Asian wooden utensils? That's right, coming soon, ball of fruity snack chopsticks.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Does it come molded?
molded. No, because there's no YouTube partnership.
Right, okay.
No unqualified people
Yeah,
were involved.
made
Only Mr. Log himself, Kel Log, is
Yeah.
he's the guy who put it all together, and he knows what he's doing. Loads of experience. Cool. We're gonna go now. Look after yourselves. Bye.
Bye.